puts the bootios directly into his singlet and then just throws it out underneath.
And you know there's some asshole fan that's eating that.
Xavier's reaction is like,
It is gross. It's relatively gross.
Which is why I started calling them crotchios.
Because it's
Twattios, because it's disgusting.
All right, well, hold on to your butts. It's Friday, October 21st, and you're listening to On the Heels Wrestling Podcast Grab Ass Grab Bag episode.
Woo!
I'm Kyle.
I'm Ray.
And I'm Brittany.
We are three former co-workers who were the only sleaze in the office who watched this crap. No.
And then they fired us all.
Yeah, just because of us.
Yeah.
That's why they shut our whole...
Burn this shit to the ground.
But
it wasn't for those meddling kids in their wrestling.
Yeah, we said, you know what we said? We said, fuck the hate, we're ready for war, we're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
And so we started the podcast, which gave us a space to shoot on all the aspects of our debatably favorite pastime without confused looks we often get from people who look at us talking about wrestling.
I see.
It's kind of weird, like, when you're sitting there talking about wrestling and someone's just staring at you.
Yeah.
It's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
The best is those moments when we talk about stuff and people, you could see them trying to make their insert where they want to make fun of it, and then they realize it wouldn't matter and that they don't matter.
And then they just walk away very slowly.
Yeah.
That was the best part. Like, they sit there like, yeah, but it's fake, right? Yeah, and we just be like...
Yeah, we know it's fake,
this.
and then we just keep going.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Tell me what this podcast is about.
This podcast is about giving you consistent bite-sized commentary on the world of professional wrestling, focusing on WWE's shit, and they keep having more and more shit that we have to keep watching. We're actually going to talk about NXT
much.
today. We occasionally touch on indies, international, and local stuff.
Awesome, because every week we'll either recap the previous week's WWE shows, specials, pay-per-views, takeovers, or we'll hold a discussion on a particular topic.
Except we're doing none of that.
None of that is happening today.
Everything is crazy.
Many different topics,
Yes,
right?
Today is the Grab Ass, Grab Bag episode.
Though it's kind of starting like with a known quantity because you're just going to talk about NXT, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Ray, kick us off. What's been going on in NXT?
So NXT, I've been watching it. I've been trying to keep up, and so it has kind of an opposite. They're having an opposite effect of SmackDown, where SmackDown, the only thing that's really exciting is the two titles, and like mid card is bullshit. NXT is the exact opposite.
Believe him or not.
Oh no,
that's a good point.
no, that is a good point. It is me. Everyone take this with a grain of salt.
Ray has become self-aware.
But here's the thing: with Nakamura hurt, and then Asuka not having like anyone to compete with, there's nothing going on there. Mid card wise, we have the second annual Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic.
Yes.
All right,
That's true.
and okay, so let me like entice you about what's going on in this classic.
I like being enticed.
Okay, I'm gonna start off with.
Can you say it like All Right Everything's former announcer? Like how you're gonna yeah.
Beguile.
I'm about to beguile you.
All right, good.
I don't even know what that word means.
I'm ready.
My body is ready.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to bring up, the Glorious 10.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I heard about this.
Yeah. So
That's pretty great.
yeah, so we have...
Assuming it's what I think it is.
Yeah, it is exactly what you think it is. It is...
It's Bobby Roode and Ty Dillinger.
Yes. So Bobby Roode is still in heel mode, and Ty Dillinger is still a face. But they're making it work, and it's like story-wise, it's great. Like, cause Bobby Roode is basically dragging Ty Dillinger into it. And he's like, no, it's gonna be great. We're gonna be perfect. You're gonna be perfect, and he won't let him speak on the mic.
Do they enter separately, or do they come out to the?
I haven't seen. They've been just doing like behind the backstage
like promos
promos
and whatnot.
Right.
But so far, awesome.
So it actually works because Bobby Roode, even though he is a heel, the Full Sail crowd fucking sings the song all the time. So it's like he's going to keep getting the face reaction.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big reason why this works, independent of these guys being awesome, right?
Yeah. So another team, really cool. Cedric Alexander and Cien,
Whatever the guy.
whatever, the 100 guy, the Almas.
Cien.
Yeah. Which they had a really awesome match on NXT a few weeks ago, and then they hugged it, friendship, respect, handshake, hug.
Yes, without the headbutt.
Without the
All right, so
headbutt.
it's not an FR Triple H, just
Yeah.
an FR head.
And so they became a team. You
I
have
really want to make that a thing.
yeah. You also have some of the new tag teams. So you have the Authors of Destruction. You have Revival, of course, is in it.
Yes.
You have TM 16?
6-1.
6-1?
6-1.
It's a number
619?
and a few letters,
Okay.
but they're awesome. They're amazing. You also have one of my favorite pairings of all time.
You told me about this.
Oh my god, I'm
Giddy
so
fucking little kid.
oh like I'm so excited to just talk about it.
This is why we need to do a live podcast. We can just put the stream on like Ray just losing his shit right now.
Yeah, like I'm so excited. So we have Rich Swann.
Yeah.
And we have No Way Jose as a team. And the chant is, "You can't handle this, no way, Jose." And it's they're on the mic.
Okay.
On the mic, like their backstage segment, they were so on point.
I agree.
They were so incredibly on point as
Okay.
far as like what their gimmick is. It's like yeah, we like to have fun, but we're also two of the best wrestlers in NXT.
They're super
right now.
dedicated.
Yeah, and so I think it really works.
All right. So who's your favorite to win?
My favorite to win, I think it's
Revival.
actually them. I think as much as I'm excited about the Glorious 10, that's gonna implode to bring out a rivalry
Yeah.
with Ty Dillinger and Bobby Roode.
That's
I
what
don't
this
think
is.
Revival would win just because like they kind of don't need it.
This is me being a shitty wrestling fan. But last year, 2 singles wrestlers won.
Yep.
So anything's possible.
Yeah, I don't think they'll. I think it's smart to not have the tag team champions win the tournament because it's like it doesn't do anything for them.
Right.
If anything, you could continue the storyline within the tag team division by them getting beat by somebody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
It's
that's
like,
great.
Last year was Joe Balor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which then launched into that very, very long feud. So that was cool.
Yeah, so I'm totally saying No Way Jose and Rich Swann to win. So anyways, other than that, like that's been, because you have a lot of singles wrestlers involved in that, that's been mostly what NXT has been all about. But yeah, like the women's division hasn't really fleshed out the title scene. It's basically Joe coming through and just kicking everybody's ass.
so this was really well timed.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah, so it
This has
really,
been Ray with the NXT report.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
All right,
fucking
thanks.
this
Well,
up.
we're going to take it back to the studio now. We've got Brittany standing in Yakima, Washington.
Oh my god.
Oh God.
Tell us
So
about Lucha Ilimitado.
yeah, so this was kind of awesome. Like I didn't see this coming, and I just got this Facebook invite for the Lucha Ilimitado, which is held in Yakima, Washington. So I drove like 2.5 hours on a school night to the middle of fucking Yakima in like Trump Town. Crazy shit. And there was this awesome card that was just absolutely incredible. Like it was originally supposed to be Rey Mysterio versus Del Rio
Yeah.
pre-stabbing, but he actually dropped out pre-stabbing, and then they swapped out Del Rio for Jeff Hardy. Which
Yeah.
being in a arena when people yell delete, delete, delete is really fucking fun. They had Santo, like Santo's son.
Yeah, Santo Jr.
Santo Jr. and then Santo Jr. Jr.
Yeah,
So like
the son of Santo and Santo
and
Jr.
the grandson of Santo, and
Yeah.
they came out in like classic silver luchador, like the tights and the
Yeah.
trunks over it. They both had capes that were matching but different colors. It was
Holy
super
shit.
classic. Are you looking at this
Yeah.
roster? Yeah, it was fucking insane. So it was those two guys versus Psychosis.
Yeah,
And
Juventud Guerrero.
yeah, Juventud Guerrero,
That's
which
awesome.
was insane. There was a fatal 4-way, which was my favorite match
How
of
the
the
fuck
show.
was this in Yakima?
Yeah, I'm saying, whoa. There was Ray Phoenix versus Jeff Cobb versus John Gresham versus Sanjay Dutt, which was like an absolutely incredible match because
That match was bonkers.
it was insane. Like at one point, Jeff Cobb is literally carrying everybody.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
like he gets super kicked in the face by all 3 other guys, and is still standing because it's Jeff Cobb, and that's realistic, right?
Yeah.
It's just oh my god, and they have a new belt, so they were competing for this belt that was gorgeous. So all of a sudden, this like promotion just kind of came out of nowhere.
I'd also never seen a lot of those guys live. I mean, we'd seen Cobb live before.
Yeah.
But, like Sanjay Dutt was legit.
He was super legit.
Yeah, Sanjay's
And-
great.
And Phoenix, obviously, like holy shit, man.
No, they were
he stole
incredible.
the show and took the title.
Yeah. There was a triple threat women's match.
Awesome.
There was what was La Vispa, who wrestles with Lucha Volcanica, who's a local promotion in Seattle.
All-
Oh shit, her?
Yeah.
All of the
Damn.
Lucha Volcanica people represented
Oh my God.
very well. Like,
Yes.
How were the
and,
tag matches refereed?
So we
Oh, no,
learned
sorry,
something.
that's Lucha this sounds.
We
Never
did
mind.
we did have some gripes about how lucha tag matches go down, but we were
learned a lot.
talking with someone who works with Volcanica on our way back from the show because they had some more of those suspect tags where
Yes.
like The referee just clearly has no idea what's going on, and there is no respect to the order of tagging at all. People are just fighting for whatever reason.
Apparently, this is fine in Lucha.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Yeah, we
don't
didn't know
have to be
this.
holding a rope on the corner.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't know that. I was
So
just like, you're chaos person.
respecting some structure and order of tag team rules is apparently an American wrestling thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I had no idea.
Our
And-
culture is uptight
I learned
sometimes.
something today.
But some Lucha people do respect the actual structure of American tag style matches because it helps add to the story.
Yes.
Right.
Ah, okay.
So this was actually really interesting
true.
because the opening match had 2 guys from Lucha Volcanica and then 2 guys from Project 42. So it was sort of like you had the Lucha rules and then the American guys kind of took over the match and it suddenly felt like an American themed or stylized tag match. It was awesome. So I went through the card backwards because now I'm going to talk about like what happened at the show because this is fucking insane. So I drove 2 hours to Yakima, right? And the show's bell's supposed to start at 6, doors open 5:30. We show up late, something like 6:30, and this show hasn't started yet. And I'm like,
Wow.
this is kind of insane. We see a couple of our friends, we're sitting there, we're just kind of chit-chatting, and then suddenly on the intercom they say, "Is there a doctor in the building? We're looking for a doctor." It's like, what the fuck? The show hasn't even started yet, and they're already asking for a doctor. Then about 15 minutes go by, and one of the guys comes out on the mic and basically just starts talking that the Washington Athletic Commission, which is actually a group that doesn't exist, is in the back testing all of the wrestlers. And what's actually happening is the Department of Licensing
They came to shut that shit down.
Yeah, so they
because putting on wrestling shows in Washington State is something they don't like.
Correct.
Unless you are the WWE.
Yeah, so we talked about this like way
Yeah,
back
yeah.
when we were talking about the legalized wrestling bills, and then that whole thing died. So now I'm actually seeing this happening in real life. and
Yeah, they
seeing-
were actively trying to kill the show.
Yes, they
Were they doing
showed up-
the suggested donation workaround, or were they actually
No,
selling tickets?
they were charging for admission, which
so
is
was that
why
the key?
the DOL
Yeah,
showed
exactly.
up, right?
Yes.
But they didn't just show up with warning; they show up as the show's supposed to start, so that they hurt the
6
experience
o'clock,
Oh.
and
for all the paying customers who showed up and wanted to actually enjoy watching wrestling. So basically, instead, the show we got to watch for the first hour was the people who were putting on the show scrambling to try to appease us as the Department of Licensing is tearing this shit apart.
So they bring the doctor back because they want to start doing blood tests for everybody behind the scenes. So you have to be licensed in Washington State. You could be licensed elsewhere and it doesn't matter. You have to be licensed to wrestle in Washington State. You have to be passing a blood test, and they're going through this. And as it's happening, they're actually changing the card. So La Vispa was in the Triple Threat women's match. That match was originally booked to be Sue Young versus Jessica
Yeah.
Havoc.
These
Jessica
poor-
Havoc does not wrestle.
all the poor wrestlers on the card, they probably had all their matches worked out, and then last second, the whole card changes because people are getting pulled off the show.
Sami Callihan was supposed to fight MVP, and Sami Callihan ends up not being able to wrestle. So MVP ends up fighting King Cash, one of the guys from, I think he's a local guy, and it was an incredible match.
Yeah.
But to find out, like, he wasn't even booked on the show.
Just showed up with his gear.
Just showed up with
ready
his
to go.
gear, and now he's suddenly ready to wrestle this guy. So basically what they did is they're like, hey, so sorry about all of this. What we're going to do is everybody gets to watch the first match. And if you feel like you're not satisfied, you can ask for a full refund. So
They then proceeded to say that over and over
Over
again,
again.
because there was still a lot of time to kill before the show
There
started.
was.
But yeah, they made it very clear, like, we're sorry if you watch the first match and you're unhappy, get your refund, get out of here.
And the first match was incredible.
Yeah, they
Like,
send
it
out the
was two of the
Lucha
Lucha
Volcanica guys
So
and they fucking killed it.
They saved the show. Like, can you imagine you're in the back
Yeah.
and you just like, you're on this card like with Jeff Hardy and Rey Mysterio
Yeah.
and Psychosis, and you're just like freaking out. And all of a sudden you're told, okay, you have to have a good match or people are going to ask for a refund and nobody gets paid.
Wow.
And they fucking killed it. It was awesome. And on top of that, the thing that really, really impressed me is we're sitting in the auditorium waiting for an hour for the show to start. The entire crowd stays through the whole thing. I saw butts stay in seats. I didn't see anyone stand up and walk away and ask for a refund. Now, there's a lot of people, so maybe one or two did. But everyone stayed there. They all stayed engaged. Everyone was engaged through literally every single match on the card. It was awesome. For this shitty experience to happen to these people, the way it all worked out was like
Fucking
great.
dope.
And there was this awesome moment where a bunch of the guys who work with the 321 crowd, we have these legalized wrestling t-shirts, which are pretty sweet. They've got like George Washington and a luchador mask.
Yeah.
And MVP did a promo with one of them. So he grabs it and holds it up and he's like, this shit's important, guys. This shit's important. make sure we make wrestling legalized in Washington. It was so cool.
That's awesome.
It was really freaking sweet. So the really shitty thing is that I had to drive 2 hours, and I got home at like 1 a.m. when I normally go to bed at 10.
Yeah.
I would love to see this promotion again.
Yeah.
And I wish them all the best. Like, it was great.
Maybe they could like find a venue in Tacoma or something.
Yeah, I think I was talking to somebody about it, and it sounds like that's like a really good market for Lucha. And if that's specifically what they're trying to do, that's fine.
I mean, I get that, but man,
But they could have at least like
get
talk
the
to
feeling,
a 3-2-1 person and get some tips on how to skirt the rules too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I get the feeling they booked that venue because it's a huge stadium and it was probably cheap.
It was probably super
cheap.
But they didn't need a huge stadium.
The
That-
pictures you sent of the seating arrangement,
Yeah,
like
the
it was
place
pretty
seats
organized.
like 7,000,
Yeah.
and there was probably a few hundred people.
It was
there.
about as many people as you get in a 3-2-1 show, maybe a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So that probably actually made it look real small.
The one
then, right?
thing
Yeah, it made
didn't
it
like-
seem very sparse.
The one thing I didn't like is Psychosis should stop wrestling immediately.
He's old.
He's old. It looks like his legs have been broken.
Yeah.
And not put back together.
Yeah.
He's very slow.
Yeah.
And I feared for his life the entire time he wrestled.
Hey, people gonna pay that man to wrestle?
Yep.
Let him live the dream.
Yep.
He's earned it.
All right, let's move on to the next topic in our grab bag.
All right,
Kyle,
so
You've been
John
watching
Cena.
movies.
John Cena is at this stage in his acting career. He's ahead of where The Rock was when The Rock started acting. I can confidently say that.
Yeah.
The Rock was just doing rock bottoms and dressed like.
Scorpion King.
Yeah.
He had a shitty agent, so he did the Tooth Fairy.
So I'm sure he's been in some other bit parts before this, but I first saw him in Trainwreck last year. And Trainwreck's great because I like Schumer and Bill Hader. They're cool.
Yeah.
And John Cena's role in this one, and he says range in these roles. He's not just, I mean, most of the roles are going to be, he looks like.
He's a giant meathead guy.
Yeah.
Yes, but then they usually riff on that in some way that like actually makes it funny, and then he's really good at having the character. So in that one, he is basically Amy Schumer is all about like having empty relationships in that movie. I'm going to abstract a little because it's still worth watching, I think.
Yeah.
So I don't want to give too much away. And John Cena's character is like the super emotional, clingy kind of a guy, and also
Doesn't he do CrossFit?
in that movie, he just talks about workout a lot, but there's this one exchange where you basically realize that he has like some kind of like homosexual urges, but not really. Kind of like in the interview with Eminem, where they do that deadpan kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he basically came on Amy Schumer because from behind he thought she was a dude and he liked her dude butt.
Yeah.
And so like that was pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
And then so then they get in all these fights, and then there's this fight he gets in with this guy in a movie theater when they're on some date, and it's more of that, and the guy starts yelling at him. And then the ultimate scene was that was really kind of messed up and weird, and like the unrated version is he's more or less like completely naked, except he's like hanging. She literally hangs a towel on like his boner,
Oh my
and he
God.
gets to have his I'm showing off moment in that movie.
Yeah.
So that was like really weird, and he was like a fun bit character in that movie. And then I watched Sisters. So he's basically so Amy Schumer, and then it's Amy Poehler and Tina Fey. So he's like rocking out with like the
greatest
awesome
women in comedy.
Yeah, the greatest women in comedy.
Yeah.
And is totally cool enabling them. So that movie's about these crazy sisters who end up throwing like one last house party
Yeah.
when they're like in their 40s.
Right.
And John Cena is basically the shadiest fuck drug dealer.
Yeah.
And for that movie, he's got a wife beater, a beanie, and full up the neck tattoos
Yes.
and on the arms.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous.
It's awesome.
And so you've seen this?
Oh, yeah.
And that scene where the whole movie he asks if he can hang out, but he seems like not excited by it because he's seen crazier shit. And he's trying to push crazier and crazier drugs on them. All they want is a little bit of weed.
Yeah.
And it all ends in the scene where finally, like Tina Fey's character, who's been hitting on him without success the whole movie, finally gets drunk enough to party, and she's like, "I'm finally drunk enough to go for you." He's like, "Good, I've been waiting. My safe word is, keep going."
Oh my God.
And then there's a whole scene where he like removes a guy who's drunk or whatever, and so that whole character keeps recurring, and you keep thinking it's going to be like a little guest appearance, but he kind of really owned that one. He knew how to be like deadpan funny, but not in a way that like is just like shitty to stand in.
Yeah.
Because you've seen plenty of wrestlers that are just like stand-ins, right?
Yeah.
They clearly got booked for this. They're making a little bit of money, but like Cena's fully committing to.
Cena is like he's like the eighth most notable character that's kind of there, and at the end of the movie there's a blooper reel, and it's just basically him going through 8 different versions of what his safe word is.
Yeah.
So there's one where he's like, "My safe word is Dow Jones Industrial Average." My safe word is like just shit like that, and it's just like
So-
really funny.
So this is the thing, like, Cena is really fucking funny, and I feel like WWE is kind of doing a disservice to him by like, yes, he's so fucking amazing, Make-A-Wish awesomeness, but like, dude, like they're wasted talent right now because
I see it like they won't let him do that heel turn, so he has to like get that character expression that he wants to do through all these other mediums,
avenues,
right?
like the ESPYs, like he was really good there, and then like he had this one commercial for Reebok, where he's basically like interrupts a conversation that two guys are having. And it's like, no, that's not weird. It's a suspension of belief. And it's
I see him in fucking hefty garbage bag commercials on the Food Network now.
Yeah, he's in a commercial for pistachios where he's voicing like an elephant in a ballpark who doesn't want to eat peanuts. Like he's doing the most random shit, but it's awesome.
It's really funny. He's really good.
Like it makes me want even more for him to do the heel thing or just something different because like he can. Like I'm convinced he's got the range, right?
Yeah.
So which is why.
And then you get PPV Cena with a new angle, which is super awesome.
Which is why I think that this is all him actually.
Yeah.
Like he's staying the character that he is in WWE because he knows it works. He's the Make-A-Wish guy. He's the public face, the outreach guy. He does that, and he's comfortable with that, and he likes that.
Yeah. And he's smart. You see how when other wrestlers
Cena's going to do an ad about equality on fucking July 4th. Like, that's the Cena that he wants to be. Like, support the troops, Cena.
Yeah.
That's the character. Oh, my God, because it's wrestling. That's the character he plays.
Yeah.
But he can do whatever the fuck he wants on movies.
And he's smart enough to do it in a respectful way that doesn't piss off Vince or whoever, right? Because
Yeah.
you could look at Punk or all the other people who try to do a different thing but couldn't.
Yeah.
Like he's doing it in the way that they're cool with it, but not in a way that gets him in trouble there. So.
And it's a completely different market, so there's very little crossover.
Yeah, and that kind of segues into the character that he plays in Total Bella.
Yeah,
exactly. We all were. Who's going to make that segue first?
It.
Yeah, it's super obvious. So Cena doesn't get to be a heel except
in Total Bellas.
Yeah, so I accidentally watched the first episode of Total Bellas, and I'm very happy that I did. And I didn't think that I would ever say that phrase.
That's weird.
So the general plot of Total Bellas is Nikki has her neck surgery, and she's really not able to do much. For a good 3 months, she's not able to travel. She has to keep the brace on except when she's eating.
And it's like that weird. It looks like one of those glow sticks, right? It
has
like these weird lights on it.
It's kind of insane, like how baller it is.
Do
right?
they explain why it needs to be like that, or should you just choose like the Lexus of neck braces?
I think that may have been like when they go out and party because they're Bellas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, there's like a whole happy hour thing. Anyway, so they decide that they have to get the whole family together to start helping Nikki and be there and support her because they're all about family. So you've got Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella moving into the guest house for John Cena's fucking baller mansion, which is like Cribs level ridiculous shit. Like oh my God, like his whole house is just insane, right? Like their guest house is bigger than any house I've ever lived in and probably will ever live in. It's fucking insane. So you've got the Bella mom who's there with her fiance, Big Johnny, fucking John Laurinaitis.
Oh, that's so funny.
And then you've got the Bella brother who just walks around in like a Team Nikki shirt all the time, but is definitely super uncomfortable and doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And then you've got both their dogs. So it's like, and the way they have the like camera at the beginning with the title is like very much like a Kardashian show where they're all standing on a staircase with like informal wear, like looking at each other. It's so just stereotypical, right? So they move in. It's like, okay, great. And then John Cena's like, all right, so here's some rules. You're living in our house. You're going to live by our rules. You're going to change your habits and make it work for us. You don't wear shoes inside. The dog stays in the guest house. If you're going to be out, please let me know because this is a shoot first date and I have a lot of guns. And all of a sudden, I'm like, fuck, Cena's a fucking asshole.
Where is the house, by the way?
It's in Orlando, I think. No, it's in Tampa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Yeah.
Like, so side note, I recently started following the Hard Knocks Gym on Instagram, which is Cena's gym. It's awesome. Cena is the best on Instagram. Anyway, so they have this whole, like, they move in, and immediately there's this, like, weird thing, like, they want to start having dinner parties, like, Downton Abbey, and Daniel Bryan's like, I don't know what the fuck a Downton Abbey is. Like, what's going on? And they show up in formal wear, but they don't have shoes on, and then Johnny Cena's like, why are you not wearing shoes? I'm like, but we're inside. There's, like, these weird stipulations to these rules. And it's like, you have to wear shoes to a dinner party. It's so...
That's awesome.
It's like, they're just throwing him curveballs to piss him off. There's a whole, and then on top of that, Scene is great. And then there's a whole scene where like they go out to a restaurant and they're drinking and stuff. And then the Bellas start talking about sex, and Cena's just cool with it and just starts talking. He's like, "Yeah, we fucked like 2 days after her surgery." It's like, how do you? Yeah, you just go slow. I'm like, oh my god, what is happening here? Like, this is... And, like, by the end of the episode, he's like, oh, well, I'm glad you brought up your concerns with me. Like, I'm a very private person, and we'll work through it, because we're family. I'm like, damn it! So I don't know how much more Total Bellas I'm going to watch, but it was great. I loved John Laurinaitis basically trying to contain losing his shit every time the camera was on him, which is why he was only on the show like 3 times.
Losing his shit like he'd laugh? Or losing
Like
his shit
someone
like
would
he's
say
mad?
something, and then he's just like clearly laughing and is just trying to like go away.
Yeah.
But like his whole story of like being Nikki and Bree's boss and then going to be their stepdad.
Yeah.
It's like the wrestling is fucking crazy, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, if it was on like an airplane and I was taking like a flight somewhere and they had one of those free TV things and I'm flipping through trying to find like trash,
You totally watch it?
I would totally watch
Awesome.
it 100%.
Okay.
Like I'm a fan of Total Bellas. I will say it.
All right, cool.
But
well,
will you watch it again? Like
Accidentally.
accidentally?
I think it was accidentally, but I do remember us basically saying somebody should watch it and see.
We were literally
So-
having that conversation, like, over
Yeah.
text, and
Yeah.
then I'm like, I think I'm accidentally watching Total Bellas. Because I was over at a friend's house watching a football game, and they were like, oh, the debate's on. Let's watch Total Bellas instead.
Nice.
That's fair.
It's
like,
a scripted train wreck.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I would much rather watch that than that piece of garbage.
All right,
Yeah.
so we got like a little
We
bit
got,
of
like,
time
5
left here.
minutes left?
Yeah.
We wanted to speculate more than just as a reaction to matches that happen, where we think, things have gone, and where we think things are going with regard to like the brand split and just leading into Royal Rumble, which is the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's where we are now. We're on the pre-road, the entrance ramp, one might say,
Yeah.
to the 6-month burn.
Yeah.
Pulling out of the parking lot.
That's right. So, and there's, Brittany brought up a great point when we were getting ready for the show, thinking about the Rumble. What happens with the winner? Do they get to pick what brand they're on?
Yeah.
Do they get to pick,
That's
or
what-
do they only get the shot with the belt which are associated?
Because they used to do that with the Rumble, when Sheamus won the Rumble,
Yeah, you
he
get to
decided to challenge Daniel Bryan, and that was when Daniel Bryan lost at WrestleMania in 18 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's sort of it's wrestling, that's the big surprise, is
Right.
you don't know who's going to win, and then based on who wins, you figure out what the storyline's going to fall into.
Yep.
It's not some pre-existing thing. So
do you then think also, that it's 10 SmackDown entrants to 20 Raw entrants? And then what do you do with the part-timers, right? Because the draft
well,
was
you're
2 to 1,
going to have people that
right?
show up who
Yeah.
are...
So like that just adds little mini wrinkles to it too, right?
Yeah, I think
Like-
they handle it the exact same way they do the draft, which is you'll have 2 Raw entrants and then 1 SmackDown.
It maybe
2 Raw.
won't be like exactly 2 for 1.
Yeah.
But there's going to be more Raw entrants.
Yeah,
than
because then
SmackDown,
there's the
simply
whole
'cause the
what
roster's
happens with
bigger.
NXT. Does a cruiserweight get in there? Like,
Yeah.
cruiserweight technically
TJP
Raw,
could be in the
whatever,
fucking
right?
Royal
Who knows?
Rumble.
There's this one's gonna be really weird because of cruiserweights, because of NXT. Like this is like the first time. Like if NXT wins, like
Women could go in.
Yeah.
yeah,
They've
That would
done
be
it
crazy.
before.
yeah,
They've had fucking
China.
So the Rumble.
China and Karma and
Yeah,
Beth
it's
Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was Beth Phoenix. Yeah. So it's
So
like
the
3 times.
Rumble-
It's possible.
Rumble could be crazy. I'm still hoping for the Kevin Owens Jericho feud that
Yeah.
we've been talking about a bunch that we hope happens the way
Mm-hmm.
we want. For the, because then you'll have Rollins able to carry that as the face
Yeah.
and continue that on.
Yes.
I will just hope, since I know there's no escaping Kale Salad, Roman Reigns, that I just hope the heel turn somehow happens. I don't know how much longer it's going to take. I mean, he could win the Rumble again. They could just keep having him win.
God damn.
Like,
Yeah, I
but
don't know.
I just
God
hope that
damn.
the way that they try to get him through is eventually through him changing his story in some way. Maybe he doesn't have to go heel. Maybe he stays face in a different way.
I want to think that like he's been just begging Vince to change heel constantly, and Vince is like, no, they love you. They love you. They're just booing you because they like you.
yeah.
right.
This is
I
the same
could
thing
say
happened with
love
Cena.
Yeah, Cena. They just saying Cena sucks as his entrance music, and they clearly like look at all the merchandise he sells.
Yeah.
What do you guys think for main feud or title stuff or whatever?
So I think one of the big things that's gonna happen, like right now, Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins and those 2 are on fucking fire.
Yeah.
And like
They're carrying the company.
Yeah.
They're carrying Raw.
yeah.
Them and Sasha and Charlotte.
Yes. So like honestly, don't fuck with it. Like
Right.
keep that going through WrestleMania. Like have different.
Keep that until Balor comes back.
Yeah.
And then you can add the variation in.
Yeah.
So I think with Balor coming back, I think because he got hurt, And because with everything else, with AJ and the club, I think what you want to do is instill him, but also we need to start ramping up the club. The whole club.
So Balor comes back as heel with club. Ready-made, ready-cooked storyline, just add water. I never lost that, I was injured.
Yeah.
The Rollins just used that one, but by then it'll be fresh because it'll have been a long ass time.
And
then the roles will be reversed. Rollins the face, like that kind of thing.
AJ Styles wins the Royal Rumble by some reason, and the rules stipulate that he can now choose to go on whichever show he wants.
Yep.
So he's heel, joins up at the club, Balor comes back prior to WrestleMania, and then you've got all 4 of them rolling.
Yep.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. That's super ambitious, having both shows and stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, like...
But one of them has to change rosters, and
Yeah.
it probably has to be Styles because the 3 others are on the Raw roster.
Yep.
Anyway, that's like a total pipe dream, right?
But
I have no idea what they're gonna do. That's.
I think it's time for like the one.
How do you
thing
feel
that
about Rollins versus AJ title versus title WrestleMania?
Oof. Yeah. But that man.
And that makes things complicated, but I mean that.
Yeah.
I feel like they put on a good match.
Oh yeah.
Who from NXT is gonna get moved up?
Oh.
I think it's gonna be Joe.
Yeah, Joe Nakamura.
Yeah, it's about time.
Joe Nakamura, both.
Nakamura would get a huge pop at Royal Rumble.
Asuka.
Oscar, yes. Just because
There's nobody to compete.
there's
with her.
nobody can
So
compete.
who is she gonna lose the belt to?
I don't think she's gonna lose the belt.
Ooh, she's
Do
gonna
like a
pull
Kevin
Paige.
Owens thing?
Yeah.
Or Paige.
Yeah, Paige did the same. Well, Kevin Owens came up when he had the belt.
Yeah.
But Paige came up when she had the
Well,
belt,
like,
and then
kinda do
Triple H
both
was
shows
like,
for a
"Yeah,
bit?
we're gonna take
Yeah,
this."
she was forced to relinquish.
Forced to
Yeah.
relinquish,
Because
and
there
that
was nobody at that time that like was really at that level where
And
Paige
then
was.
that led to the what's her name, Natalia versus Charlotte.
Yeah.
And that was what put Charlotte on the map.
Yep.
Charlotte basically got the title because Paige had to relinquish.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I think honestly, like we're heading towards like a huge apex of
My
like
favorite time to be a wrestling fan.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of talent coming back.
Or the worst time to be a wrestling fan,
yeah,
depending on how
it's
this
too
works.
much time. Yeah. The sad thing though is that I think Hideo Itami would have been great to lead NXT to like
God damn. That's
And-
just
yeah, like I think that would have been the great like kind of handing off of Hideo Itami and Bobby Roode and all these other people, and now it really is gonna be Bobby Roode and like whoever else is there.
I feel bad for Austin Aries.
Yeah.
Last mini speculation, because they've already, once they start talking about title reigns, that you wonder how they're going to handle it. But they've already started talking about New Day versus Demolition's 470-day record.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Is New Day going to break it?
No.
No.
They're at 409 or something right now, and Demolition 470.
They'll lose it at Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's great
Because no one expects Sheamus and
and
Cesaro to win.
it keeps them as a tag team, and they need to be because right now like they're sputtering.
Yeah.
And if they're together, they can do new storylines. It's basically the Daniel Bryan Kane thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
like you have these two guys. They have no real motivations, but though they have to be a tag team.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's good for New Day because then they need the.
They don't need the belts.
They don't need the belts right
They're
now.
too good. Like, oh my god.
So then, how do you feel? Their first grab bag? You feel alright? You
Yeah,
feel
I
whole?
think it's
you feel
good. I would do it again.
We'll see what the legions, the millions, and millions of the fans have to say.
Nice. So that'll wrap it up for this week. If you like the podcast, you can find us on Twitter at OnTheHeelsWP and on Facebook.com/OnTheHeelsWP. You can find our podcast through lots of different services like iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube.
Yeah, you can.
Woo!
Yeah, and you should subscribe to this podcast.
You should.
You should give us a 5-star rating.
You should.
I'm just saying, you can leave us comments and message us.
You should.
Yeah, you should tweet at us.
You should.
Our DMs are open.
My goodness.
And just like tell your wrestling buddies. That's the most important thing. If you have friends that watch wrestling, hell, just send them our way.
Yeah, it's not like we're like a 4-hour podcast.
Yeah, we are half an hour,
Yeah.
or sometimes 45 minutes.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for listening to On Heels Wrestling Podcast. Tune into our next episode where we may lay some foundations for the local horror business show.
Yeah.
We'll
3, 2, 1.
get ourselves mentally ready for Hell in a Cell.
Yes.
Halloween type stuff, Raw recaps, and then after all that stuff, we'll ask ourselves the eternal question: will Sheamus ever get over with the audience?
Oh, man.
That was bad.
So, I think you're
It's retro.
Yeah. Wow, bring it back.
Word life. This is basic economics. This is basic economics. Word life.